How I Met Your Mother. People call it a classic. It's a lot of people's favorite. I liked it, but I want to temper that a little bit. Now, people refer to How I Met Your Mother as a classic hangout sitcom, right? So it's a group of friends that has their central hangout. In this case, it's the bar near their home. And you have dynamic characters with different lives and backstories and different interactions. So think Friends, think Seinfeld, but think not as good as Seinfeld. I'd rank this higher than Friends. It's a little more intellectual than Friends. I find Friends hard to bear, hard to sit through. And now that I've made tons of enemies, start early by leaving your comments in the section below. Tell me which hangout comedy sitcom is your favorite. Seinfeld, Friends, How I Met Your Mother. Ready? Fight! Okay, in the meantime, let me kind of give you a recap of what's going on. So, this is Ted Mosby. He's really the main character. He's the narrator. He's telling the story of how he met the mother of these kids that are shown at the end. Okay, this is his best friend and college roommate, now friend after college, and his name is Marshall. Marshall is dating a woman named Lily. They eventually get married, have a baby. This is Barney Stinson, played by Neil Patrick Harris. He is kind of the womanizer, player, wingman, etc. And later, this is the pilot episode that I have playing behind me, but later, he helps Ted meet a woman at the bar named Robin. They're at the bar now. This is their hangout. Like half of the show takes place in this bar. So the five of them. Ted, Marshall, Lily, Robin, and Neil Patrick Harris, which is Barney Stinson. Okay? So it's their escapades, their life as, young adults in New York City. And, the trouble that they get into. A lot of the situations are not very believable. It's similar to Seinfeld in that way. But the writing is what saves this show. Really, the acting is quite good too, but the writing, it's clever, it's quick, it's catchy. But over the length of all of the seasons and seasons and seasons of this show, it starts to feel tired and formulaic. And my biggest complaint, spoilers from this point on, stop watching if you are in the middle of watching How I Met Your Mother, because this would be a huge plot twist. Okay. Are you gone? Okay. So at the very end, this entire show was building up to Ted and Robin get together, right? And that's what the audience wants, and that's what they build up to. And in the end, they don't. In the last season, Ted ends up with someone else. And you know what? They're a better fit for each other, probably. But there's still that thought of, what about Ted and Robin? Why not? Okay? So I think the writers realized that, this series is coming to an end. We have to give the people what they want. So they rammed through this huge plot twist right at the end, and they kill off Ted's love interest. They kill her off. She dies of cancer, and then at the end they just kind of leave it open like Ted and Robin probably get back together, but they just smash it in there literally in the last episode. So it was unfulfilling. It was one of the worst series endings that I've ever been a part of, and I'm including Seinfeld, which a lot of people didn't like, but I did. I felt like Seinfeld brought the series finale, brought back a lot of the characters that you had met throughout the 9 seasons. They did the same thing here, but then they ruined it by forcing the Ted and Robin thing. I think it would have worked. We had come to terms with it by the end of the last season that Ted ended up with someone else. So, huge disclaimer here, I should have put at the front, this show is not appropriate for all audiences. It's PG-13, and it is almost exclusively sexual dialogue. The content in here, fairly safe. There are sometimes people in bed together, but nothing simulated or anything. The biggest issue, the biggest gripe I have with this show is how much of it centers around Barney Stinson's bad influence and then the love lives of all these people. So, situational comedy, great. You don't have the same degree of slapstick humor that you do with Seinfeld with Kramer. But none of these characters is as iconic as Seinfeld. Okay, there you go, right? So these characters are more likable, more believable. They seem like people you'd actually be friends with in real life. But it's not as good as Seinfeld. It's not as much of a classic. The writing is not as robust, and the characters aren't as original, and the situations aren't as unique as Seinfeld. So maybe unfair to compare them to each other, but that's my frame of reference. How I Met Your Mother's good. It's entertaining. Not the best show that I've ever seen, and I can't recommend it to all audiences because of the previous content that I already mentioned. So if you want, it's on Netflix right now. Go check it out. You can watch every episode ever. I started watching them when I was stuck in bed because I'd thrown my back out, and that's probably the best way to get hooked. Just plow through 8 or 9 episodes, and then you're stuck for the rest of the series. But if you just catch an episode here or there, you're missing the continuity of the story arc. This is really one that's best binge watched on Netflix in sequential order. Okay, what do you think? I made a lot of enemies at the beginning by saying I don't like Friends. Okay, you're my friends. I don't need Ross and Chandler and Joey and all that. Okay, leave your comments in the section below. Tell me how you really feel. And in the meantime, subscribe to this channel by clicking over here. And then on this side, check out some of the other videos that I've made. Thanks.